Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're taking a look at Loopmancer here on the Steam Deck, and I'm really enjoying this game. I've been waiting a while for it to come out. Don't play a lot of games like this, but this one's really growing on me, and the performance on Steam Deck is good as well. So we're going to take a look at a lot of settings, but to start off with, of course, we are 800p here, full screen. I'm running VSync and 60 FPS cap. High settings right now with no FSR turned on. Now, you're not going to be able to get a 60 FPS experience in this game anyways, but we're going to take a look at a few different settings and talk about what's going on with that. We'll take a look at FSR as well. We'll take a look at 30 FPS and 40 FPS here on the Steam Deck and talk about what settings I like to use here. But I thought this would be fun to go through, and not only could you see some gameplay and the performance here on the deck, but we can talk about these settings and have some fun going through the video. But the game looks great, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty awesome to be getting to a point where what we consider indie games really start to look like and play like AA and AAA titles. Anyways, this game is a lot of fun, and the performance here is really good for considering that we're on high settings. Now, there is an epic setting above this, but I'm not going to bother with that here on the Steam Deck, but I was surprised that even on high settings, we're able to get a good experience. Now, as far as FSR goes, I don't usually like to go past balance, which would be performance or ultra performance, especially since we're already down to 800p. We don't gain a lot, and even when I put this on balanced FSR, we only gain so much here as far as our FPS. We might maintain a couple of FPS higher, but because we are already at a lower resolution and the game's not that easy to run, we don't gain a whole bunch. But we'll go back in here and make some more changes as well. I just want to show you guys a few of these settings. Like I said, you have performance. We might check that out in a minute, but let me turn that off, and we're going to change the settings down to medium just to see what the difference is there, and we'll jump right back into this scene here. And for the most part, performance is, again, similar. And this is one of those games where whether you go low, medium, or high, yes, you do get differences in your FPS, but it's not a ton when running on hardware like this. And that does happen in quite a few games where there's only so much you can really squeak out of the system. It's just the way the game is built. So going back into our settings again, we're going to go ahead and knock this down to low like I was talking about just to see what that does. And again, doesn't make a huge difference when it comes to what we're getting as far as our frame rate. And you can see there, we're still bouncing, 52 to 60 FPS depending. And in cutscenes and in different areas of the game, you will see bigger dips if you're on high, depending on what your settings are. But yeah, low only gets you so far as well. Even if I go with low with FSR on balanced, you're still not going to get yourself to 60 FPS, which is why I don't think it's even really worth, number one, using FSR in this game on the Steam Deck, nor is it really worth going down to low. I think you should really be at medium and 40 FPS locked, which is what I like, and we'll take a look at that later. Or at 30 FPS locked with high settings works as well, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute too. But I wanted to just go through these settings with the 60 FPS being the cap and show you what kind of performance we were getting here. It's not a huge difference, so pretty much medium or high settings. You can mess around with FSR if you want to, but you don't gain a lot. I'll go ahead and pop it in performance here while we're at low, and again, you're still not going to maintain a solid 60. But performance here for being the Steam Deck is still really good for a game like this. There is really a lot going on visually in this game. It looks great, and really enjoying the gameplay and my time with it so far, especially on the deck. That's definitely where I've played the most, even though I have played some on my local PC. Now here we've got our frame rate. I'm going to go ahead and knock us down to 30 FPS like I was talking about before. We'll cap that out. We'll also go into the settings, excuse me, just to be sure, and cap the game itself to 30 and make some changes there as well. So we'll go in here. We'll go ahead and make this 30 FPS as well. I'm going to go ahead and leave things on high. Motion blur still off. No FSR. And you can pretty much get a nice solid frame time and a nice solid 30 FPS in most areas with even high settings. If you had some trouble, you could turn a couple of things down, maybe knock down those shadows or something later on in the game if you notice issues, but for the most part, I played for a while, and I didn't have any issues with 30 FPS and high settings here. You can definitely squeeze some more battery life out of this as well by doing some of this, but the only thing is with the 30 FPS in a game like this where you get into boss fights where you really need to dodge and move quickly and that type of thing, the 40 to 60 FPS does feel better and more responsive than the 30. But this works well. So let's go to the settings that I really like to use and I've been playing the most here with Loopmancer on the deck. And that's going to be medium settings across the board with no motion blur, frame caps turned back up to 60, no FSR, and we're going to go into the Steam Deck settings and we're going to go ahead and apply that 40 FPS that they have in here, which works great. This is probably one of my favorite features of the Steam Deck, being able to change your screen's refresh rate to 40 Hertz and cap the game to 40, and it works really well. And you'll see here, at 40 FPS capped with medium settings, again, just like the 30 FPS, the frame time's excellent, but things are just that much smoother here for me on the nice 7-inch screen. Might not be as easy to tell here in the recording, but it definitely feels better when playing. So this is my preferred way to play Loopmancer here on the Steam Deck at 40 FPS with medium settings, no motion blur, and it's been working great. I probably got about 4 hours in with this settings like this. So anyways, guys, I've been waiting for this game, really enjoying it. Highly recommend Loopmancer, especially if you're looking for a great game to play on the go on your Steam Deck, and the performance here is pretty impressive for the device as well. Alright guys, if you haven't already, subscribe, thumbs up, ring that bell, leave me your comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.